Kidderminster Harriers Football Club, founded 108 years ago, achieved distinction and records on 3 fronts during the 93-94 season. The most significant turned out to be, ironically, not acceptable to the powers that be of the Football League. For on a warm May Saturday afternoon, Harriers celebrated winning non-league's equivalent of a Premier Championship by taking the GM Vauxhall Conference title by 3 clear points from runners-up Kettering Town. Yet, as the home supporters celebrated their heroes' reward of an automatic place in Division 3 of the Football League, the ruling body had already rubber-stamped Harriers' efforts null and void. Had the FA been the ruling body, would the decision have been different? So, as the truth dawned, players, fans, officials and directors alike had to hide their obvious disappointment. Simply put, it was because the Agbury Stadium did not meet the Football League standard way back on December the 31st, 1993. Yet, ironically, 15 weeks later, the old man main stand, which had been the stumbling block to a successful league application, had been replaced by a modern all-seater facility, a place then for the start of the 94-95 season. On the second front, Harriers carved out the chance of becoming first non-league side to reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup since the competition was reorganised in 1925. As it transpired, Harriers joined only 4 other non-league clubs to have reached the last 16 in the modern era. In fact, the FA Cup run finally ran out of magic only against the Premiership might of West Ham United in round 5. An astonishing feat for a side that began their league campaign by losing 5 from their opening 7 games. During that golden run, Harriers had made their FA Cup 4th round qualifying entrance with a visit to Deodora Premier League champions Chesham United at Meadow Park. Home manager Gerald Applin felt confident enough to leave his top scorer Michael Banton to wear the number 14 shirt. After Harriers had almost conceded an early goal, Weir and keeper Rose showed nervous indecision. Harriers produced what was to be the best move of the first half. Striker Paul Davis stroked the ball into the path of Delwyn Humphreys, who advanced to his lead and beat homekeeper Andy Lomus to give Harriers a 9th-minute lead. From then on, it was Chesham who dictated the pattern of the game and were unlucky not to score on 35 minutes. Ian Mitchell looped a header over Rose onto the crossbar, and Webley, following through, put his header inches wide. Chesham continued to press, although just before the interval, both Neil Cartwright and Delwyn Humphreys had shots blocked by keeper Lomas. Half-time, and Harriers were left happy with their slender 1-0 margin. Any further thoughts that Chesham faithful had among a crowd of 1,144 of a cup upset were to be dispelled on 62 minutes. match tempo, and Chris Brindley scored from a John Purdy corner. Minutes later, Paul Granger put the issue beyond doubt with a 25-yard strike that somehow had slipped underneath the diving Lomas. To Harriers, yet still more drama to come in the remaining 25 minutes. First, referee Mr. Griggs from Dursley sent Harriers John Purdy for the early bath on 80 minutes. Purdy guilty of elbowing Lee Coslow in the face. Then, with just 2 minutes left, Chesham substitute Mark Dorber scored a consolation goal. Right on the stroke of full-time, Harriers made the scoreline a thoroughly respectable 4-1. Delbin Humphreys recording his second of an interesting confrontation. Their only setbacks, Paul Davis taken to hospital with a nasty eye injury and a Martin Weir booking, but passage into the FA Cup round 1 was achieved. 2 weeks later, Harriers were looking to achieve a record equaling 9th consecutive conference victory set by Wycombe Wanderers the previous season. After comprehensively beating Slough Town away to the tune of 5-1, Humphreys celebrating a hat-trick, Dagenham and Redbridge proved to be the fly in the ointment. The strong Essex side stopped the Harriers' victory trail with an injury-time equaliser through substitute Adrian Hours in a 1-1 draw. The FA Cup road continued at Agborough Stadium when on November the 13th, conference rivals Kettering Town, 4th in the league and only 1 defeat in 13 games, keeping 9 clean sheets, were the visitors. The Poppies had already lowered Harriers' league colours 2-0 at Agborough on August the 23rd. So manager Graham Carr and his side were confident of more success on a wet and windy afternoon in front of 3,775 crowd.
And a big crowd here at Agborough, and a great deal of noise and excitement, and already Kettering now looking to play the ball on the ground, and it's the number 2, Terry Muckleborough, feeds the number 7, Neil Owen Wright there, and there's a shot on target from Phil Brown. Now it's Richard Forsyth feeding Delbin Humphreys. He can't control it, and there's nobody there to back him up, so it's easy for Nick Ashby to get his attack.
The first half had found both defences in commanding form, with goal chances as rare as a dry spell in a monsoon. The second period went very much Kidderminster's way, with goals from Brindley, a Forsyth penalty, and Paul Davis sealing a second-round FA Cup place. But all good things must come to an end, and ironically, league defeat came to Harriers on November the 27th at Kingsfield, Woking, through a 32nd minute Clive Walker goal. So that was the end of Harriers' 14-match unbeaten run, and as the second-round FA Cup draw had paired these two conference rivals together for the following Saturday, a huge psychological advantage for the Surrey side. Saturday, December the 4th, and on a breezy but dry afternoon, Harriers once again faced the club that ended their hopes of reaching FA Cup Round 2 in the 1991 season. Then it took 3 highly competitive encounters before Woking squeezed through. The Vauxhall Premier side went on to beat Merthyr, West Bromwich Albion, before being downed 1-0 by Everton at Goodison Park in Round 4. So Agborough was once again a stadium buzzing with excitement, and 4,411 spectators as Harriers reached out for the first ever appearance in Round 3.
Trevor Merrick, please could you report to the centre tunnel, Trevor Merrick.
So good crowd here, expected between 4,500 to 5,000 and they're getting very excited. A tremendous atmosphere. The sun is going to be a bit of a problem for keeper Kevin Rose as they start the game, and they kick off. Darwin Humphreys there shielding his eyes from the sun, and they're kicking towards the college end. And of course in goal for Woking will be Lawrence Barty. He won't be troubled by the sunshine. Kevin Rose will be, and Kidderminster start the game, and it's Simeon Hodgson, the skipper for Kidderminster Harriers, hoisting the ball forward.
For Woking, it's their 5th successive appearance in round 2, but their manager Jeff Chappell is well aware that Harriers will strive hard for both revenge of a league defeat last Saturday and also a place in round 3 of the FA Cup for the first time in their 108-year history.
There is an offside decision, so there'll be a free kick to Woking.
In the event, a goalless first half. In the second half, eventually Harriers made the vital breakthrough.
Bit of movement up front there. Purdy on the run from Granger, and he's brought down, and it's a penalty. It's a penalty for Kidderminster Harriers. Granger found Purdy, and he's brought down. Looks to me as if it was Andy Clement who brought him down. Referee Mr. Don having no hesitation, and it's going to be Richard Forsyth who'll step up to take the penalty with just 10 minutes left of this game. It's Richard Forsyth against Batty, and he puts Kidderminster Harriers in front on 80 minutes. Indeed, we've run into the 81st minute of this game, and will that be enough to settle this issue?
The goal came rather late on. What about taking penalties at that stage of the match? Were you very nervous?
Well, obviously, anybody who says I don't, but it's penalty taking is something that you have to be confident in doing. And you know, I'm not the sort of person that I'll grab the ball. Normally, there's a couple that do, John Purdy and that, but they didn't want it at that time. So, you know, on the penalty taking, it was my job to do it.
So it didn't matter to you. You made your mind up which side you were going to put it.
Yeah, normally I like to see where the keeper's going, but I usually find that in tense matches it's best to make your mind up and just put it there.
Well, you certainly put it there. You defeated Batty and nicely nestling in the goal there, and it was certainly a goal that was very important at that stage of the match. But how did you see the penalty itself?
Well, Paul Granger knocked the ball through, didn't he, to John Purdy. He went, what it looked like to me, John Purdy had the first touch and cut out the players and cut across him. And really, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I wasn't really near. All I seen him go across, and he went down.
Well, certainly the referee had no hesitation in giving you the penalty at that stage.
The FA Cup third round draw had given Harriers a touch of good fortune. St Andrews was to be the venue for Harriers against Birmingham City, but that meeting was still a month away, and 5 important league games were to come before January the 8th. The 5th of these being at Abra against former Football League opposition Halifax Town. First Humphreys and then substitute Cartwright gave Harriers a 2-0 lead, and although Halifax got one back, Graham Orner's side had come through the 5 Conference League games unbeaten, collecting 11 points into the bargain. Euphoria had hit the town when the news broke Harriers were paired away to big spending neighbours, Ensley First Division Birmingham City. So a crowd just short of 20,000 saw Blues manager Barry Friesman take the early lead on 9 minutes through Paul Harding. very much in keeping with the Blues script, until Neil Cartwright's fearless far post header on the half hour silenced the home supporters. John Purdy settled the issue in the 69th minute. Racing forward towards the Blues penalty area, Harriers former Arsenal and Wolves player smashed a brilliant long-range drive past goalkeeper Ian Bennett. The result, a personal triumph for Harriers manager Graham Allner, a lifelong Blues fan. Next cup competition, Dagenham and Redbridge at Agborough in the first round of the FA Trophy. In fact, Harriers were still in the chase for 3 major competitions, so I asked the views of Harriers fans. What do you think of the season so far for Kidderminster Harriers?
It's marvellous. After a slow start, they're having a marvellous time.
And they're in with a chance of 3 trophies. Well, at least the Challenge Trophy for the league, the FA Trophy, of course. What about the FA Cup?
I think they've got a 50-50 chance next week. If they can come to terms with Preston's style of play, I think they can beat them next week.
And what about this afternoon?
It'll be a hard one again today, but I think they'll just scrape it.
Well, on the day, it was not to be a good outing for those fans. Paul Cavell with a run. Back to Richardson. Oh, there's a chance there, and it's the number 10, Green, there. And a lovely back heel by Butterworth. And Green finishes it off in fine style, so Harriers have gone behind. And certainly Dagenham and Redbridge have come out in the second half full of fire, and they know they've got a chance. They've hit the post in the first minute, and now they've scored through Dennis Green. Gary Stelling neatly getting out of trouble. Oh, and Chris Brindley there, failing to get the ball, and Cavell taking on Weir, getting the better of him. Cavell inside the penalty area, and he scores the second. And the Dagenham and Redbridge supporters are overjoyed. Paul Cavell scoring the second just 2 minutes after Dagenham's first. Harriers bowed out to conference colleagues Dagenham Redbridge at the first hurdle. Harriers then had broken yet more records into round 4 for the first ever occasion and their first cup victory against league opposition.
Yeah, it's going to be tougher against Preston today than Birmingham, because Birmingham like to play football like we do, so it was both match, but we had the spirit to go on and win. But today it's going to be different, because they're just going to be kicking the ball forward, chasing, trying to get percentages and having long throws, corners and whatever. It's going to be a lot tougher for us, but if we play our football, I can see us going on until we win.
About Preston North End's form, and how do you rate them this year?
Well, they've been doing well, they have, but you get a few people try to criticise them, simply because the long ball game. But my philosophy is the team that scores the most goals and concedes the least is the winner. So it's simply football's football, and whatever way it's legal, get it in the net, you do it.
Score this afternoon?
I'd say 3-1 to North End.
Now the Harriers could not travel outside their own backyard without national media attention, especially as the 4th round draw gave Harriers another home match, this time against 3rd Division Preston North End. Another supercharged Agborough, the battleground then for Harriers' biggest ever day, January the 29th, 1994.
But Chris Brindley once again was there in the right position as Purdy picks up now the ball, and it'll be the number 2 Fearsome, but he bolts the ball through the Humphreys. Humphreys couldn't quite control it well enough, but Purdy again gets the ball, and another chance to get his side moving into the Preston penalty area. He's still got the ball, and number 2 Fearsome with him, but Purdy crossing it to Humphreys, and Humphreys!
So, Derwin Humphreys' goal 2 minutes into the second half meant Harriers were the first non-league side to reach the last 16 of the FA Cup since Telford United achieved such distinction in 1985. A Humphreys celebratory and acrobatic backflip represented not only personal and team satisfaction, but pure joy to most of the crowd of 7,000.
Strike while the iron is hot, and they've done that, and it's through Derwin Humphreys, the leading scorer for Kidderminster Harriers.
Harriers' confidence was high then for the FA Cup 5th round, and why not? 3 previous home FA Cup victories, Kettering, Woking, Preston North End, and no goals conceded. This time, Premiership side West Ham United were the visitors to Agborough on Saturday, February the 19th. The Harriers' ground capacity had been increased with the addition of a temporary marquee stand from 7,000 to almost 8,000. In the event, 7,850 turned up to see whether Harriers could go where no other non-league side had gone since the 1920s, into the last 8 of the FA Cup. The first half saw West Ham United create the best chances, but Clive Allen in particular spurned several gilt-edged opportunities, twice following Lee Chapman knockdown headers over the crossbar. Kevin Rose excelled with a fine goal line save to deny Chapman. Then John Purdy was almost clear through when tripped by Hammer's Alvin Martin, the 35-year-old centre-back. The veteran Martin was lucky to find the referee Mr. Pooley from Bishop Stortford in a lenient mood. But the year of the underdog was to turn into a celebration for scorers older dogs. Relief then was etched on the faces of the big city slickers on 67 minutes. Keith Rowlands hoisted his centre deep and high into Harriers' goalmouth. Keeper Rose ran from goal, misjudged the flight of the ball, and found himself stranded as a 6'3", 34-year-old Lee Chapman's header found the goal standard. So, the only goal of a nervous afternoon. Kidderminster were superbly organised and possessed strikers as skillful as the Hammers, and in defence were equally resolute. But against Premiership know-how and physical presence, the task was just out of reach. So there was glory in the dream, honour in defeat, and applause even from the most ardent Hammers supporter.
Old Trafford to look forward to next week, but today it was Agbro. What were your impressions of your victory?
Well, it was a very hard-fought win. Obviously, we knew we were coming to a side that were full of confidence. They had a great cup run, and you know, I think they did the area proud and did the conference proud, and you know, it was no easy victory for us.
What do you think of the facilities here at non-league Kidderminster?
Well, I think obviously they're looking to make some improvements and staking a claim to come into the Football League, and hopefully that will be achieved by the end of the season. If they win the conference, I think the team, you know, has shown that they've got a lot of ability and they deserve their chance to play in the Football League.
So the goal finally came for you. Just take us through that moment, because it seemed a very simple goal and a defensive error.
Well, it wasn't as simple as you make out. It was a nice high ball from Keith. And the keeper half committed himself, and I managed to see that he'd come off the line, and I knew I just had to loop it over his head. I thought he was going to hit the bar, but it just managed to dip it the last second and went in.
Back to league business then on the following Saturday, February 26th. Stafford Rangers provided the bread and water opposition in front of almost 2,200 attendants. 2 second-half goals gave Harriers the 3 points, which established them in second place in the conference table. Martin Weir scored with a 62nd minute header. 5 minutes later, a flick-on header from Richard Forsyth found striker Paul Davies. His goal instinct did the rest. 10 yards out, and the ball ended up in the roof of Stafford's goal net. Manager Graham Allner's 650th match in charge ended in delight. Life was by no means a bed of roses for the 74 favourites Harriers at this critical stage of the season. Saturday, March the 12th, and although occupying top spot for all but a couple of weeks during the last 3 months, Harriers were now pitted against second-place Southport at Agborough. An intriguing battle for supremacy ensued, with Southport's manager Brian Kettle desperate to see his side gain 3 vital points over the top dogs. Yet it was Harriers who took first blood when on 5 minutes from a Richard Forsyth corner, Martin Weir struck home a fierce header past the stunned Sound Grounders keeper Paul Moore. Southport looked impressive going forward, Lee Williams' effort going just over the crossbar on 8 minutes. On 26 minutes, defender Paul Lodge found Williams, and his deft flick-on saw Southport's number 11, Peter Withers, lobbing both Rose and the Harriers' crossbar. Yet referee Mr. Barlow came to Southport's rescue, disallowing Harriers' goal effort from Paul Granger. In the second period, Southport hung on, even going close to getting the equaliser on 67 minutes. Substitute Quinlan on for Lee Williams took a corner, and Goulding's header was well saved by Kevin Rose. But a carbon copy set-piece move from Harriers' first goal was repeated in the last minute of the game. A Forsyth corner found Martin Weir once again in the right spot, and the Harriers' number 4 headed home his second goal to give the side a deserved victory and the 3 vital points. So a crowd of 3,877 had seen an entertaining game from the leading conference sides, but it was Southport who left Agborough disappointed. Saturday, March the 19th, and another busy and expectant Agborough home crowd for the third in a series of conference table-topping clashes. Harriers who played Kettering, who were third, followed by second-place Southport. It was now the turn of fourth-place Woking to receive the Harriers' treatment. But was it to be a case of beware the Ides of March? Not so, as Harriers recorded their 12th home league win of the season. Woking, perhaps with their minds tuned into their FA Trophy run, showed little attacking desire in the first period. Harriers took an early 7th minute lead. Les Palmer, showing excellent form, took a Cartwright pass in his stride, drifted past 2 defenders before unleashing a 20-yard shot that deceived Woking's keeper Lawrence Batty. "12 minutes later, and Harriers were sitting comfortable as Paul Davies got the important finishing touch to a Martin Weir header. In the second period, Woking showed a lot more spirit and sparkle, eventually reducing the 2-goal margin on 59 minutes. Andy Clement's free kick was seized on by the number 10, Gary Bennett, and from 12 yards, the striker rammed his shot pass to helpless Kevin Rose. Harriers was soon back on the goal trail, however, when on 67 minutes, Les Palmer restored home fans' faith, Harriers' 2-goal margin. Neil Cartwright's cross was fiercely headed into goal by the informed Palmer. Yet Woking almost reduced the arrears with a last gasp shot from Derek Brown that struck a post. So, in the space of 15 days, Harriers had arrogantly swept aside their chief rival for the championship, but would they have enough resources to last the distance in the run-up to the final match of the 93-94 season, almost 2 months away? We pick up the action in the next conference game, which was live on Wire TV.
Bromsgrove are in the green and white stripes and Kidderminster in the traditional red and white halves. But Martin, we had quite a hailstorm here about an hour ago, and that's really softened the pitch up.
It certainly has helped it, John, there's no doubt about that. I think Graham Molnar, we were speaking to him before the game and he was very pleased with it. He just hoped that it stays off for the remainder of the game.
Don't we all? From our little perch on the gantry up here, and there was Bromsgrove's Brian Gray trying to get in and win the ball. And there's quite a good crowd here. So one time they were forecasting close on 5,000. Kidderminster have had the best gate of this season in the league. Over 4,000 that one was. Intelligently played short. There might be a shot on here for Steve Stock. Coming in is Gray. It's a goal kick this time.
It wasn't a bad idea, John, taking the corner shot. Personally speaking, I think with the wind advantage, first time you've had a corner, I would really try and test the goalkeeper. I'd have swung it in.
It's a nice little flick header from Humphries to Davis. Paul Davis, wonderful servant for Kidderminster. He's done really well here now, and he's got Humphries motoring outside that penalty area. Gets the cross in. Here's the first chance of the night. Saved on the line by Green. Cut right across the face, and Kidderminster have taken the lead. And it's Paul Granger. Excellent work starting there with Paul Davis, who got that ball across to Humphries, and then when the cross comes in, the Bromsgrove defence gets in a little bit of a tangle here. Ron Green keeps it out one-handed, but then when Davis cuts it back, I thought it was going to go out of play. Granger's virtually on the line to poke it home.
Goalkeeper has to be disappointed really with his defence. He's done everything. He's made a fantastic save. He's come out to try and cut the angle out again, and he must be desperately disappointed to see when he's turned his back it's ended up in the net. But great start for Kidderminster. Just getting back to what you're talking about there, if they happen to manage it into the Football League, I think it'll be great for the town, it'll be great for the supporters. I think that you'll get the usual hangers-on for a couple of weeks to see how they do. But they'll be anxious to win a couple of matches early on in the league so that they would get settled down.
Here's a useful ball, and Carter's in that penalty area and goes down, and that's a penalty for Bromsgrove. Ricky Carter wins Bromsgrove a penalty here in the closing moments, and just what we were talking about, the danger is always there. If you don't take your chances when you've got them, you might suffer the consequences. And Bancroft's challenge there is a foul one, and Ricky Carter has won a penalty for Bromsgrove.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think the referee looked across first of all to the linesman to see what he thought. The linesman almost shrugged his shoulders on it, but it was one of those where Carter's momentum was almost carried on in through, and you'd have to say that the referee is close enough to give the decision, and he's done so.
Well, Ricky Carter has done the job for his side, but he's got injured in the process. By the way, although it is spelt so it's pronounced as Ricky, he assures me it's not, it's Ricky. And they'll be chanting Ricky, Ricky, Ricky will those Bromsgrove bouncers. Kevin Rhodes now faces thing was O'Meara was winding himself up. O'Meara put the ball on the spot, but it's Skelding who rifles it wide of Kevin Rhodes' left hand, and Bromsgrove have turned it on its head this game.
Yeah, well, he took it well, to be fair. There's a lot of pressure on him. They haven't had too many attacks tonight. They're worthy of scoring a goal, and this one is counted for him.
So it's set up a grandstand finale here as Kidderminster will want to get a winner now in these closing minutes to send their fans home happy. Kidderminster corner. If it's going to be their year, they might well score from this. Deacon just gets his foot to it, and on goes Humphreys. They've got to get it in quickly. We're well into time added on. Here's the shot, and Ron Green makes the stop, much to the relief of all the Bromsgrove fans in the crowd.
It was a brilliant shot by Purdy. He's just come inside, short backlift and Wallington. And Green did very, very well to stop it.
And that was indeed the final act of the game. Ron Green makes the stop. It's a very valuable point for Bromsgrove, really, this one. Kidderminster, well, they could see it as a couple of points drop, but at the same time it's another point towards their goal of finishing top of the Vauxhall Conference.
Harriers, their third game in 8 days, faced a revitalised Telford United at Agwell. But although not entirely convincing in a 2-0 victory, Harriers regained their top spot with 3 vital points. Richard Forsyth opened the scoring with a close-range header from a John Purdy cross. In the second half, Delwyn Humphreys added a second as Harriers' unbeaten league sequence moved on to 12. Through the 23rd and Harriers' fourth game in 10 days saw just 2 positional changes in Saturday's Chelford victory.
Yes, welcome to a cool damp evening and to Agwell for another important conference encounter for promotion seekers, Kidderminster Harriers. 7th place Gateshead are tonight's visitors in this third attempt to clear the fixture after 2 postponements earlier this month. Once again, we're having to do the donkey work, and he doesn't, and that's a lovely goal and a lovely opportunity, and it's been taken by Paul Dobson, and Weir made a mess of it. And there's a bit of silence from the crowd. They can't imagine, but it's happened. And Harriers have gone 1 goal down. Paul Dobson, the scorer, and that's 20 minutes of the second half. Forsyth leaving us for Weir, so he's going to join the attack. Brindley there calling for it, just right side of the penalty area. It's on to his head, but it's Corner who gets there first. In fact, it wasn't Corner, it was Parkinson, and eventually it's Humphreys, and it was Cartwright, and there he goes.
In fact, many in the 2,438 crowd thought Harriers extremely lucky to equalise through Derwent Humphreys and continue the vital job of adding to their points collection. So it was on to the final conference game of the season.
4-ball forces crowd locked, and the referee brings it all to a close. 90 minutes have gone by. The final result here at Agra. It's Kidderminster Harriers 1, Gateshead 1. Gateshead on 65 minutes was a lovely opportunity after...
They'll win today, 2-0.
Hopefully they'll do good today and we'll go up there. Some encouragement from the fans.
No, I suppose Altrincham. Yeah, Kiddie fan. What's going to happen today? Harriers are going to win 3-1. Champions! 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 Confident, are you? Come on! Yeah, totally, totally. What's the score going to be then? 2-0. 2-0 Harriers. Delwyn and Birdie. No problem.
It depends on the category result, of course, but it's going to be pretty tight, I think.
Kidderminster stand on the threshold of their greatest hour. The Vauxhall Conference title would represent a pinnacle of achievement deemed impossible even 10 years ago. By and large, these are the players who brought glory to Agra. Graham Allner names an unchanged 11, though key central defender Martin Weir had to come through a rigorous lunchtime fitness test to take his usual place alongside Chris Brindley.
And that's a nice welcome to Altrincham. Here they are.
Altrincham are the informed team of the league at present, though, unbeaten in their last 8 matches, and a match for anyone, as we saw against Kettering Town earlier this week. John King was happy enough with that display to leave his side unaltered, and this is a very settled unit, full of confidence. You'd think Kidderminster would be absolutely exhausted at the end of a week in which they played at Halifax on Monday, at Telford on Wednesday, and here tonight. This afternoon playing Altrincham 3 times in a week, but I'm sure the occasion is going to lift them. The prize is tremendous for them. Such a significant triumph for Kidderminster, though. It was only back in 1980 they won the Southern League Cup. 3 years later they were promoted to the Alliance Premier League, and since then they've made huge strides, both on and off the field. Which is all credit to David Reynolds and his co-directors. Here's a chance for Terry, and Terry scores for Altrincham, and it's a sickening blow for Kidderminster. Stuart Terry, who's looked as likely as anybody in the opening phases of this game, poaches the goal, and Altrincham, this isn't in the script, Altrincham take the lead. He brought it down well and hammered it inside the upright, and that's a beautifully taken goal. But at the other end immediately, here goes John Purdy, still Purdy, and then Altrincham closed the door firmly in his face. But what a good strike that was from Terry. We've been commenting about how accomplished a player he looked.
We were just saying what a good little player Stuart Terry. He took his goal very neatly indeed, but very poor marking from the Kidderminster Harriers defence there. And I think it was Martin Weir there at the left Stuart Terry, maybe oceans of 2 or 3 yards at least. They had plenty of time to bring the ball down and slot it away beautifully in the corner of the net.
It goes from Hodgson to Rose. And that ball just seemed to bobble. It looks as though Altrincham have done enough to win the points on this day, and it means that they've had a tremendous end to the season. They'll be unbeaten in their last 9 matches, and that means that John King will really start afresh in the new season with a team he'll believe can do as well as Kidderminster have done this season. And he's telling the referee, come on, it's full time, he wants those points. Certainly didn't come here intending to let Kidderminster enjoy themselves, and indeed Altrincham have scored what they will regard as a very, very good victory indeed against the champions elect. All ears now are trained on Kettering and the result from Rockingham Road against Bromsgrove Rovers. And almost limply in a way, 1 or 2 scarves are waving there.
So a long, hard season had turned out to be the most magical carpet ride ever in their 108 years history. Only sour note not being allowed to take up a deserved place in the Football League. 9 days later, Harriers veteran striker Paul Davis had a testimonial benefit match against Ron Atkinson's strong Aston Villa squad at Agborough.
Welcome to a cool, cloudy Agra for the final 13 game of the 93-94 season, and a marvellous, attractive match in prospect. Aston Villa are the visitors for this Paul Davis testimonial encounter, with manager Jim Barron taking the role from Ron Atkinson, of course, and his squad parading the Coca-Cola Cup. They won, of course, at Wembley at the end of March against Manchester United by 3-1 in a tremendous final. The little one there looking at a proud father and a man who's made in the order of 531 appearances or thereabouts and scored 251 goals in his career here at Agra. Little difficult to control, but Bancroft does get it back to Rose. Rose to Forsyth, letting it run through to Deacon. Deacon to Cartwright. Cartwright now taking on two Aston Villa players. He's got Ekiog with him. Now Paul Davis trying a shot, curling it round, and Bosnich has to go down to his left-hand side to save. Now Progress with the ball to Pierce, through to the number 10. Cut out by Woodall. Forsyth to Paul Davis. Oh! Just past the post. Evans to Murray, back to Evans. And it's Woodall commits the foul on Froggatt. So, Harriers going to have to look alert. Ekiong up there in the area, just about 6 yards to the left-hand side of the penalty spot. Murray with him, left-footed, and Ekiong in there, but it was, I think, Whittingham with a header that went wide. Brindley going to have a 50-50 ball. He wins that one, and does he win the second one? He wins the second one as well. So a great cheer goes up from the home crowd as Paul Davis feeds Humphreys out on the right. Will he get it under control before Barrett gets there? He does so, teasing him with the ball. He gets round on this side beautifully, and he squares it across, and Deacon misses it. But Paul Davis scores, and that's what the crowd wanted. And a tremendous effort from Paul Davis. So there you go. Humphreys got round Barrett, squared it back, and Paul Davis scoring his 252nd goal of his career for Harriers. Forsyth finding Cartwright and Pierce. Ball bobbling around, still Cartwright, and he fires it in, but it hits the side netting. Bosnich was not quite pleased with the way his defender took on Cartwright there. Cartwright beat him for speed. Paul Davis saying he wanted that more on his favoured foot. Ekiog laying it off. Oh, that was asking for it, and Humphreys tried one, and that was worth it, because Ekiog had made a mistake trying to get the ball to Barrett. Very poor pass, and Humphreys was onto it like a shot, and the ever alert striker for Harriers trying one, firing in the shot, not too wide of Bosnich's right-hand post. Evans to Murray. Murray looking for a cross or a short one. It's a short one back to Evans. Evans, Whittingham jumping. It's Farrell, a good shot on his left foot. Tremendous strike. And that beat Rose all ends up. And a great effort that. Cross ball. On to Humphreys. Humphreys shooting there. Oh, and a fine shot it was indeed. And it goes in the left hand, and there's the famous Kidderminster jump jet, Harrier jump jet. Now, and Villa on a break. And it's entertainment both ends. End-to-end stuff, as they say, with the Villa supporters behind Stedman's goal. Of course, many of the Aston Villa players will be looking forward to their journey into South Africa in a couple of days' time. As Hodgson gets it back to Stedman. Stedman, what on earth is he playing at? And Stedman messed that up completely. And Murray it is who scores. But that was a gift. And that brings the scores level. I think I'm right in saying that. As a breaker trying to get a first touch for Cowie, and Stedman making a mess of that one as well. My goodness, what is wrong with the youngster tonight? Humphreys, Cartwright to Davis. Lovely ball now. Paul Davis tries to feed Humphreys very quickly, but in the way was Evans and Pearce. Now to Evans. The ball to Murray. Murray letting it run to Breakrow. Breakrow now has got options out on the left-hand side of Farrell. He tries to feed it through and makes a mess of it. In fact, I'm not sure he wasn't trying to get the ball through to Whittingham, but anyhow, Humphreys on a run. And Narnan, he's got the keeper to beat, and he crashes the ball over the bar. Holds his hands on his forehead. Why didn't I put that just underneath the bar, he says to himself. It wasn't to be. And Paul Davis comes off then with minutes to go for the final whistle from Vic Callow. Paul Davis going over to the bench, shaking hands with Graham Allner and Jim Conway, I'm sure, and Jim Barron, Villa manager tonight, as the Villa player goes down, but it's Cartwright now taking the ball, stopped by Ekiog. Now Humphreys got the beating of Pearce, and Oakes just over the top. Good effort from Humphreys, trying his luck once again. Crowd really enjoying this one. Number 7. In fact, it was number 17. And Vic Callow, in fact, had given a free kick as Mick Toohey actually got a shot on target in the net. Won't count, of course. And that's a shame for the home supporters behind Oakes' goal.
Everybody behind the barriers, please. If you want to keep off the pitch, behind the barriers, please.
So the supporters here tonight, 3,450, have seen a great entertainment. A good, strong Aston Villa side who've paid tribute to Paul Davis. They certainly have tried to play their part in providing strong opposition, and this they've done. 4 or 5 of the first team squad members. And Farrell, he's hit the post, and it's gone in off of a Harriers player, and the supporters are on the field. Not sure who it came in off of. That's a shame, because the public address announcer...
The testimonial match, a fitting climax then for Paul Davis and his Harriers colleagues. So from Chairman David Reynolds down through the ranks to the humble ground steward, a magnificent and professional team effort. And what a reputation for Kidderminster Harriers to maintain, or even emulate, perhaps in the 94-95 season, and a new look main stand to oversee future titles.
Aston Villa 3, and Vic Callow probably won't play very much time, although Humphreys to Forsyth trying his luck to bring it back to 3-3. And there it is, the end of the game. And Ekiog, it was the man who's been credited with the goal, but it won't matter. We've seen some tremendous football here this evening, and tremendous goals. And the final scoreline for Paul Davis' testimonial at Agborough after the 10 years, 11th season. It's Kidderminster Harriers 2, Aston Villa 3. The score for Kidderminster Harriers, none less than, of course, Paul Davis opening the scoring. Then Derwin Humphreys for Harriers. For Aston Villa, Farrell, a tremendous goal. And then Murray, and then Ekiog, although really it was Hodgson who put it into his own net. So, tremendous evening, and one which will live long, I'm sure, in the memory of Paul Davis and his family. A tribute to him and Graham Allner, his manager. So from Agborough, it's good evening.